You're listening to the ZNN Newscast on the ZNN News Network with your hosts, Dave, and Xavier Diamant. Proceed by inquiry.
Good morning. Ongoing investigation on the active shooter leads us to a trans-liberal with a Republican dad.
That'll create some division. We go live to the trusted FBI for more.
Get in, Tyler.
Yeah.
We're taking you to Dairy Queen. Great job, kid.
Okay, from now on, you just do what we say. Now go get your Dairy Queen. It still hasn't been 33 hours.
As we wait for the 33 hours, the FBI is hard at work coming up with a solid script to present to the public. How do we get away with this?
I got it. Let's just ask ChatGPT to generate us a story of young gay lovers from the 20s.
Genius.
When you're talking about things like going out to a crime scene, that's how you investigate that matter properly. And when you're talking about why did it take 33 hours, all of that is being triaged by the FBI because that's what we do.
We trusted you with the Epstein files. We definitely can trust you with this.
Right. Trust your government. Noticing is antiseptic, right, John?
That's right. I think we might have found our suspect texting his furry lover. We're just waiting for him to confess.
Ugh, fine, but nobody my age sounds like that.
Shut up, Tyler, and send it.
Good thing they're rigorously pushing for a confession. It's like, let's get this over with, right?
Conspiracy theorists will believe anything these days, and this just in, we have footage of Tyler on the roof. Okay, here he is after disassembling the rifle to fit it in his pants, and now he doesn't have a shadow. Shapiro Steen, explain what we're seeing here.
Just because his shadow disappeared and our donors offered $1.5 million to find the killer doesn't mean we did it. But yes, he questioned too much. That's why we got rid of him.
We'll just say he reassembled it.
33 hours, 2 hours after the video footage was enhanced and released, and the suspect's father turned him in.
Seems like they could just show the actual footage of him taking the shot instead of that edited video, and all these conspiracy theories go away. Do they think we're retarded or something?
Hell yeah, Ching Chong, that's based. I mean, at least show the video of the lavalier exploding or the Israeli Schaefer security company retrieving the weapon.
Shut it down, John. Let's not forget what happened to Jackie when she noticed. Now, make the dad MAGA and have him call it in now.
Are you ready to confess? He admitted it, okay? Now, when do I get the $1.5 million?
Well, hope he gets his ransom money, right?
Well, it's officially been 33 hours.
Oh, how exciting.
Let's hear Cash thank the Viking pagan gods.
Charlie would love that.
To my friend Charlie Kirk. Rest now, brother. We have the watch. And I'll see you in Valhalla.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him.
Forgive Tyler, for we know it was him, and there's nothing more to see here.
Good call, Erica. And if you still haven't followed Jake GTV yet, you might be severely retarded. Certainly not based.
All right, welcome to episode 54 of the ZNN Newscast. We are your hosts, myself, Dave, and
Xavier Diamant.
I wanted to open with that clip because it's been a while since our last episode, regrettably so. But number one, I echo that last comment. Like, if you're not subscribed to Jake GTV, you're severely retarded. But I thought that's where I get my news now. Basically, but I thought it encapsulated a lot of the past few months, which we need to catch up on and plan to on this episode.
Oh yeah,
in its its presentation of the amazingly fast dilapidation of the narrative.
Oh yeah,
and also the fact that it was created basically 100% with AI, and this came out within like a few weeks of the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Right.
Also the increasingly opaque situation with I hesitate to use the word disinformation, but when we're looking at stuff on a screen and we're trying to perceive reality, we're clearly in a new era with these video creation tools, and we'll talk about that on our last episode. A big subject matter was the rise of AI and the collapse, the Cole AI apps. Like that's like still a super relevant and increasingly relevant subject to consider. Not only is it blurring the lines of what actually happened and what is artificially created and disseminated online, but also, of course, the job displacement factor with these new and these fast advancing AI technologies. But also that clip is just so hilarious and so well done.
It wraps a lot of the kind of Swiss cheese holes in the narrative very aptly and succinctly in a humorous, tongue-in-cheek manner.
I also think it is indicative of the current state skepticism that you see even increasingly in Gen Pop. Like people have talked about the quickening in a number of different aspects of world events. There is undoubtedly a quickening in terms of popular skepticism of what is presented on the news. You know, for example, how long did it take for there to be popular criticism and skepticism of the official narrative of 9/11? I mean, I'd argue like there was early skepticism, but that was not mainstream discourse. It was swept under the rug. And the fact that a video like this could be created with AI and then become popular within weeks of this event, when it, for most people, it just happened out of nowhere. Like I wasn't personally really paying that close attention to Charlie Kirk. I knew who he was.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like following him as like a major mover and shaker, even though he clearly has become that, perhaps even posthumously, you know, more so than he was, you know, while he's alive, because of the controversy over, you know, his death. But it also weaves in like a lot of the macro issues, which are, I think, showing the cracks of the current I don't know, political gestalt and the mainstream kind of way things have been, especially with respect to Israel. That was almost like an unquestioned alliance for, I would say, a long period of time, especially post 9/11. And you know, the rise of figures like Nick Fuentes and the cracks in the MAGA foundation around Trump's true loyalties.
Right.
You know, that's all seems out of this assassination, which is probably, would you agree, the biggest, most significant thing that's happened since our last episode? I mean, it
definitely captured the headlines the longest through September and into kind of early October, and then the news cycle sort of shifted. The only other piece of news was actually something very recent, which was yesterday, that Mamdani won New York City mayor. I'd say those are the two big kind of Goliath headlines over the past 4 or 5 months.
I was talking to a relative about that who wanted to have a Prosecco with me to celebrate the election of Mamdani, and I said, you know, I don't live, nor do I plan to ever live in New York City, so part of me just doesn't care. But you know, like New York City, if he won that legit, I mean, I don't really feel bad for New Yorkers, because you're gonna get what you ask for. You're making your bed, you're going to have to lie in it. And it's crazy to me that I could have such a fundamentally opposite view of how this is going to play out.
Oh, yeah.
As compared to the person I was talking to.
I mean, it's all based on this kind of half-truth narrative that we need new blood in politics. You know, we need leaders with fresh ideas and new blood. You know, and it's like we're getting played true.
Again. Yeah. I said this is how we get played. Mm-hmm. Okay, because this individual was arguing that this is a great repudiation of Trump, even though Trump's not in that election. Like,
how is it really?
It's a repudiation of MAGA ideals and direction, and I guess more broadly, it was kind of like a rough election for the Republicans because of how things are going with the current administration and whatnot. And I said, don't you see this is how the game is played? Right. Trump was installed to begin with as red meat for the increasingly anti-statist wing of the right wing, if you want to call it that. And that paved the way for an installation of a memory care bound indigent geriatric puppet non-president, hologram Joe, autopin Joe, who even on his first day was signing all these executive orders, literally caught on hot mic saying, I don't even know what I'm reading. Don't even know what I'm reading. So, which paved the way for the pendulum to swing the other way yet again, to expand Trump's base, which then he, won in a landslide. They didn't put up anybody who's competitive at all. And now we're seeing the pendulum, and it's like, this is just right left paradigm nonsense. Like writ large.
And the whole like cyclicality of these quote unquote selection elections. I mean, 4 years is not like very much time actually to do really anything truly substantive other than to just keep the agenda trend intact, essentially, and maybe bolster other agenda trends that have been waning for some time. I mean, when you really get right down to it, the right-left paradigm, it's the right cheek and the left cheek of the same oligarchical ass, guys. I mean, for real. These people, they are not going to explicate the true architecture of how they're even put in a position to represent people. They're never going to go through the entire system. That's never going to be made clear to the public, really. It's all these bromides and platitudes and inversion narratives, basically, that are fed to the public as great reporting and cutting-edge journalism and all this stuff. It's like, you guys aren't... The media hasn't been talking about the real issues for probably 50 years. And it's been especially nauseating in the past 15. But it's just unreal, the kind of mind control apparatus that's still intact. When you get right down to it, it's kind of mind-blowing, really. That this whole like duopoly, schizophrenic dialectic has been intact, and it continues to milk new generations of lemming suckers at the end of the day. I mean, call me cynical, but how can you change a system that by design completely denigrates any sort of moral compunction upon the agents that want to participate in it? I mean, I don't see how you can really make change within this sort of zyotechnocracy system. I mean, change is really just kind of a buzzword for appeasement.
Yeah, in a way, one could look at because like I think there was probably a brief period of time where the technocracy had not advanced to the point where they could become a check on the dissemination of information on the internet. A very brief period of time. That time might be over.
Right.
And so, like, you have generations of people trained on the legacy media information distribution network, then a transition into the internet where I think credibility in the old system was lost, but that Pavlovian training was still there, getting us ready for the new generation of propaganda, which is now on our phones, on our computers. That's how people get their information now.
Right.
And I think the Charlie Kirk thing is a great case study in how actually easy the whole scenario can, like, the legacy plus the internet can work together to continue to deceive people. Because one thing is for sure, the movie magic techniques have only become more advanced. So when we talk about like holograms, when we talk about even just old-fashioned special effects like squibs and small, scale explosives. You heard in the Jake G TV clip, like there's all this discussion about the exploding mic. We have that situation in Israel where they loaded a bunch of pagers with, so that lends credibility to the idea that this was a legitimate assassination, through the exploding mic. There's all this question about the caliber of the bullet, but there's not a lot of people standing back and saying, look, we have no idea.
Right.
We are only, and it's good though that people are like at least questioning the official thing that they're being told. It's just crazy to me that like it seems almost like that what we're being told is meant to distract us, almost like a form of entertainment, like, disinfo and deceptive information placement, like the whole story of they discovered the gun and it had the etchings on it and the text message, and it's like people just perceive it. They might later question it when other people point it out, but it's like, I feel like people's gut reaction should be to kind of like, okay, I have no idea. I'm not there. I didn't discover this. I'm being told this. And like the de facto should be, question the veracity of the information given, like, the FBI says that this text message was sent. And it's like, well, a lot of people automatically presume that the only way that they would present it is if they obtained this authentically. It's like, do you know how easy it is to just forge that and just say it? Like, even if you wanted to forge the telemetry, they could do that.
Of course.
And forensically say, oh, look, it was sent at this particular time by this particular device. Like, that could be forged too.
Sure.
So, I see the advances in movie magic, and like people have been trained to watch movies.
Correct.
And so like we are still very much in a state of suspended disbelief.
In this hypnagogic kind of techno-oracle tyranny that has evolved with the screen presentation technology. Yes. And it's definitely alarming. I think at the end of the day, the information relay systems are kind of the bread and butter of the control grid, because as long as people are kind of ensnared and co-participants in the dissemination of the misdirection, there's this, again, kind of hypnotic relay that beckons the continued becoming of this information infrastructure. And so it's like sort of like a low-key, subconscious philosophical assent to the expansion of this techno tyranny. And it's extremely difficult to avoid because all of the conduits of civilization basically are plugged into it.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of, quote unquote, alternative from that, info matrix control grid. And it's extremely kind of, paralyzing on one level, but on another level, it's kind of sort of humorous because it's like, wow, this was kind of all it took, really, was a sort of tablature mesmerization. It's the con man trick, basically, using tactics of misdirection and power of suggestion and portending towards a result, a grand display of what they've kind of always wanted to bring about. And the Mamdani election, I see it as kind of a continuation into the next generation of keeping this co-participant plantation intact. Oh, well, we're gonna change things up with a radical new, millennial socialist Muslim, like
that's been tried in London,
Scotland. And
I found it ironic, though. I heard Cuomo talking about, he was asked about, what would happen in New York City, and he listed a bunch of things that happened under his leadership, like higher taxes, wealthy people leaving, more crime on the streets.
Right.
And I'm just like,
the sanctuary city.
We do a case study on San Francisco. I mean, like, pretty much any metropolis.
Oh yeah.
I sent you some videos.
All of the above.
I went to Atlanta for the first time since I was 8 years old, and I was walking to an event from my hotel, and I saw a woman with no shirt on, screaming at somebody. A guy who had built a box house in front of a building, while a Cinderella horse ride, getting the beautiful tour of the city, was rolling by. It was like bombed out. There was a lot of like shuttered businesses, and it didn't smell as bad as San Francisco. I've been in San Francisco as recently as 2024, and it was just awful.
You don't want to be downhill and downwind of certain areas.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Nor in certain locations with the encampments and whatnot, which is another thing we've talked a lot about over the last 5 months since our last show, is the growing amount of fringe homeless people living on the edge of society, essentially under infrastructure like bridges and this and that. I see it all, more and more. My wife has to, we had our car broken into earlier in the summer, and then subsequently 2 different times, my wife was noticing someone hovering, who clearly didn't have a car to go to, looked disheveled, was kind of waiting for her to walk away so that they could try to break into the car. That was her conclusion. But just like, loiterers and people who clearly are down on their luck and are hanging around, some are panhandling, some are maybe perhaps a little less honest about their and that's just gonna, New York City, I don't want to I don't want to be there.
With the current trend in place, if we set up a continuation of this development, it's going to be new Mogadishu here by 2040. I mean, what's the percentage of people that voted him in? I mean, it's got to be this massive sanctuary city.
Mm-hmm. They're cooked. They're cooked.
I mean, I don't think people understand that New York is now London
nominally
in a lot of ways.
Nominally, there are not enough people who understand economics well enough.
Yeah.
Clearly, they will leave. Those people will leave. The actual, the tax base.
Right. Right.
So it's going to become a quickly, my prediction, a quickly hyper-parasitic system that evaporates what little wealth is there. And like maybe some businesses will continue to have their offices there because of the legacy name of New York City. But at a certain point, when they are taking losses on their real estate investments
big time,
and they can probably get away with remote workers and stuff, like that's gonna stop, like that.
And what's gonna come in there in its stead? Probably a bunch of Dubai and UAE connected wealth firms. Why not just let's bring the whole caliphate here and just buy up New York City.
Right.
There's a lot of money in the Middle East and
True.
UAE and Dubai and parts of Africa. I mean, there's these big cavernous hordes of foreign capital that could easily. You'd think that you would want certain aspects of Islamic economics to be implemented, right? Aren't they kind of anti-usury, at least on the surface?
Hey, it's not a broken clock is right twice a day.
Broken clock is right twice a day.
Can't all be bad. There's probably some good things we could take from it.
There's again, but you have 2 minutes out of the day or something out of 7,000 minutes in a day or something. I mean, it's I personally don't think that they're compatible.
That's what I've argued, and people point to like our diversity in America as evidence that like we can coexist, blah blah blah. But it's like these are the same people who also demonize Christian nationalists,
right?
As being as every bit extreme as these Muslim groups.
Let's see. All right, let's just do a little math here. Just real simple, like maybe third grade. What's the birth rate of Christian nationalists right now? What's the long-term threat of them actually gaining power? What's the average? Maybe
0.7,
1.4 kids per Christian nationalist household. I mean, is that the numbers that we're trying to work with here?
Right.
I mean, okay, what's the average birth rate of the average Islamic household? Was it 3.2 or something?
Right.
So we got about 40 years before you have full demographic takeover, basically.
Yeah. The other thing is our diversity is tempered by at least what our government is supposed to be. You know what I mean? We're not a theocratic dictatorship.
No.
Okay. No. Over there, that's what it is. That's what it is. And so, like, there is an incompatibility.
Absolutely.
I would also argue, we shouldn't limit this to discussions of Muslims. We could also talk about other groups who would prefer to come here. And,
sure.
I worked for an Indian company for the better part of 2 years, got a real flavor. By the way, I love Indian food, so flavor's pretty good.
Very well flavored.
Very well flavored, although I'm not too keen on the street food type variety that I see on Instagram a lot.
Right.
But we've had a massive influx of Indian populations as well.
For sure.
And one, like in terms of the demographic influence of these groups, assimilation is an important subject.
Sure it is.
And so, like,
I think it's kind of crucial for social cohesion. I mean, if you have huge swaths of populations that have no allegiance to being in accordance with the broader society, and they all want their own parallel societies, well, what sovereignty really do you have left as a nation? I mean, you become more of just like a economic zone that can be exploited by, eight ways to Sunday collectivist enterprises.
I liked Ron Paul's answer to the question of communism and socialism, and his point was, in a free society, if you want to set up like you said, an economic zone essentially, or a neighborhood, you might call it a community, that adheres to, and we do have these in America, communes, there's various settlements, if you will, that handle things a little bit differently than like what I guess the predominant like system is for most families in America. But that adhere to a different set of like ideals, that you're free to do that. And through the marketplace, people will realize what works and what doesn't work. And, maybe you have a very successful communist enclave within, but I think when it comes to assimilation, a lot of people, especially on the left here, see that as almost like a colonial idea, like we're going to impose our beliefs on them, and it's like no, they don't have to like come here and claim Jesus Christ as their savior, but we do have laws,
right? And
I don't even say customs, just laws, like of what is legal and illegal, and they, at a minimum, like they need to understand those and adhere to them. The language, I don't know. Like I just wouldn't have the gall to say go to France and live there and expect everybody else to like cater to me. And
but that's
English.
Kind of what's been done, right?
Yeah, like they're teaching. Growing up, you probably had Spanish classes like me, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, this is going to be very valuable for you because we're just going to see more and more Spanish-speaking people here, and we need to be able to talk to them. And it's kind of like, if I want to be able to talk to them, like they're coming into my country, right? And I guess like, having a national, defined language is racist somehow. Like we slit our own wrists like every which way. But I came across this clip. I'll play it real quick. It kind of segues, or not segues, but ties into what we're talking about. But
dream for Indians. He has raised H1B dream for Indians. He has raised H1B fees from $1,000 to $100,000 US. To put this into perspective, the median salary of H1B holders is $97,000. The H1B fees is paid by the company. Think about it. Why would the company now pay $200,000 for an H1B person when they can get the same job done for half the price, $100,000 from a local American? Being in tech, this triggers me more because I have friends in US who have paid 60 lakh rupees just to go to US and study. They were already not finding jobs, and now with this rule, who do you think will hire them? Nobody. India is the country that has been impacted the most. Indians used to get 72% of H1B visas. That is 3 out of 4 H1Bs used to come to India. Now all of that is gone. And it is not over. This becomes effective 21st September. That is tomorrow. So now everybody who is out of US is being asked to come back to US in one day. This is a big to all Indians. Trump just...
Can you imagine moving to India and then complaining about the
loss of subsidization for you as a foreigner?
Yeah, and the treatment of the indigenous working class as they're currying favor to their own people. Like I would never complain about that. I would expect it.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? And like you're not entitled to these jobs, dude. Right. Like just because you file the paperwork to come over here.
Right.
And like at the same time, what he's complaining about is what we're already experiencing, because we have American companies who are headquartered here, who know that they can employ lower wage workers in other countries. That's called outsourcing. Like, dude, India's the most impacted. What about the loss of the manufacturing base in this country?
Yeah, let alone the just general cultural dispossession, you know, and the lack of enfranchisement and representation for various congressional seats, and all the policies and practices that get rolled out because of the favoritism that's endemic within these foreign lobbies that exert huge influence in the United States. It's unbelievable.
And, you know, there are Indians who come here and they add value to our society. Like, that is not to say that that doesn't happen, but is it wise as policy to, like you said, subsidize their import to the country? And therefore, like, these are not people who have to go through all the formal steps of citizenship. They don't really have to assimilate culturally like one might think. And people need to understand, like, there are major differences culturally between countries.
Huge.
And like, India, for however many centuries, has been based on a caste system.
Yeah.
Like, America was the experiment
completely against that
differed
static hierarchicalization of society
from titles of nobility and a stratification of the different social classes to the point of subjugation. And I've experienced it firsthand.
For sure.
Not that I was, you know,
directly subjugated,
but I saw that, you know, Indians treating other Indians this way.
Right.
Which told me, as much as they might enjoy the fruits of America and the society we have here, they do enjoy it because they're here. And I've heard it directly from them. I said, why here? Why New Jersey? Why not go back? I love it here. That's what they tell me. But it's like we were talking about before, the Pavlovian training of the TV. Likewise, like, you are, there's a large part of like who you are comes from the culture you were raised in. I mean, that's common sense, right?
Right.
So like the caste system, it's not that old.
No,
it's old, but I'm saying, like, its implementation in India, it's not like they're so far removed from it. The generations still carry that genetic marker, and they can't help themselves in some ways. I'm not saying all Indians are in favor of it even. Many of them are opposed to it, but they just accept it as, this is the way things are. This is part of our culture.
I mean, the last I checked, like, you know, I can't go over to India to a sanctuary city, like, you know, fictionally speaking, New Delhi or something. Mumbai, like, as if that was going to be a sanctuary city for, you know, Westerners. It's like almost comical to like utter it. But I mean, where's the reciprocity, basically? Like, if the U.S. is just going to be a huge international feeding trough economically, then how come every country isn't like that?
Right.
Oh, wait. Oh, y'all have things to protect that you value beyond foreigners from the West just coming and completely expropriating all of it. Oh, but you're not going to pay that consideration to us. This is a double standard. This is a one-way street here. So, yeah, I mean, that's the problem with being the world reserve currency, basically.
True.
I mean, this is kind of Triffin's dilemma here, where, oh, y'all generate the most capital that backs the world economy. Well, you owe us all favors, basically.
Right.
And here we are.
Yeah.
2025,
it's
almost
by
wrapped
design.
up. I mean, it's completely structurally implemented for specific agenda setting purposes.
Since you brought it up, the world reserve currency, you know, economically, we're in unprecedented
completely
times.
unprecedented times.
What are we on, day 37, 38 of the government, shutdown?
That was the other headline.
Then
those three.
Then I mean, that's like probably the biggest one right now.
Probably the biggest one right now. Yeah.
But then the continued kicking of the can, like the AI bubble, all this like. Jerome Powell, he sucks, he's
just an old crank that wants to maintain his legacy.
He needs to lower interest rates now. And it's
right.
like, okay,
that's what got us to where we are.
Anti-status, right? Like this is your moment to jump on Trump and be like, this is not the argument we need to be making.
Right.
Like, we don't need to be kicking the can further with further inflation. Like, think about that. Like, he needs to lower interest rates now. Because Trump wants all the records for highest stock price and all the little flags he can raise to say, look how good I made the economy. Blah blah blah. It's like, no, man. If you want a legacy, don't tinker at the edges by saying, why haven't you fired him yet? Because you can't?
Right.
Like, this is your moment to be calling out the hidden hand behind all of politics. Like, this is your moment. You don't have a term left. Why not scorch earth it? Mm-hmm. Quit trying to like play the master market rigger and try to manage this big thing and make everybody happy, which is impossible. You're not making everybody happy. You're making certain people happy, and
for short periods of time until they become angry at you.
Yeah. Why can't you fire Jerome Powell? Why can't you propose legislation that would end the Fed? Like, I haven't heard anything like that.
I think it goes to show that the office of the presidency is completely captured, and it's basically a puppet.
It's puppet thing, and
yeah.
It's so obvious, and like I almost don't want to talk to anybody who can't like get on that level. I mean, yeah.
Incredible.
It is interesting though, the machinations in the crypto space. It seems like we're definitely headed towards a situation where crypto is going to be leveraged to basically devalue the debt of the United States.
That's what
it's like, a last ditch.
It's kind of a last ditch, yeah.
We're in default.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, our government is shut down.
We've been in default for probably 12 years, realistically.
Like, we're how many days out are we from the SNAP benefits running out?
Well, there's these little emergency troughs that get activated on a state-to-state basis, but I mean, if you look at the actual burn rate that was in place prior to November 1st, you're looking at like right around Thanksgiving. So the timing is pretty wild, and it's like it makes you think that all this political sclerosis and dead heat and filibustering solutions, it's like, this is also part of the program. Mm-hmm. This is a perfect duck and run cover operation for the vultures to start coming in terms of the asset markets, in terms of the sort of predatory hedge funds that are going to start to short stuff and panic people out and equity strip people. I mean, and then it also goes into the whole bond fraud. I mean, if you paid attention to one of the chaps that we played, I don't know if it was last episode, but it was the episode before that, Mitch Vexler. Yeah, talking about the renegade fraudulent municipal bonds that are issued every single year on the back of a predetermined budget that's backed into residential housing now. And so a lot of the root problem in the economy can be traced back to this bond fraud that you're putting the hook on mom and pop that has a median household income that's in the dirt compared to these frickin' unbelievable obligations that they're setting up for future generations. And it is it's fraud on its face, but on a macro level, the sheer amount of treasury issuance and quote unquote quantitative easing, money printing since 2009 is a default in itself.
Yeah, 100%.
Because there's no income to justify the debt obligations that are being issued and put as our labor is being used as collateral. Basically, our future generations, labor is being used as a basically Ponzi collateral for this mega debt bubble. And my skepticism is to Vexler that, do you think a system that thrives on this crematism and this crematistic fraud, do you think that it's ever going to let up? Or do you think that it's going to go to stratospheric extents and they're going to roll out a completely other monetary system that completely debases and redenominates and rehypothecates all of the old debt into an asset going forward? I mean,
the term too big
they could do it.
The term too big to fail has already been popularized and mainstreamed, and that is the de facto position of the current financial powers that be. I tend to agree with you that it will lead to there's no righting this ship before it crashes into the dock, essentially.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, the impact of the the real estate inflation and the overtaxation, it's almost incalculable.
It's incalculable.
It's incalculable.
I mean, I've seen some figures estimate that since the founding of the Federal Reserve, over $280 trillion has been stolen from the American public. What can we do with $280 trillion, guys? And where did it go? Oh, it went into black budgets and debt black holes that produced nothing of positive merit or value. It just went to corporate slush and sequestration, essentially.
Right.
That's a massive robbery. I mean, so I am sympathetic towards this idea that this parasitic, fiat, Rothschild, Rockefeller combine system really does owe the world all of its money. I have a sympathy for that argument. But the issue is you have to tackle all of the ways that it's invested that stolen money.
Right.
Before you can actually right the wrong, so to speak.
Yeah.
And if we're cheering on the infrastructure that they've created as a solution for the disparity and the wealth problems, it's never going to work.
It's like the whole incompetence versus evil type of thing.
Right.
And it's like, look, we're never going to fix this if we're assuming in terms of addressing the structural issues that we just don't have the right people. Then you get into the same motion of putting your faith in a salvific savior type figure who can come in and it's like, how Alan Greenspan was kind of seen as this grand wizard of the financial system. Really, it had very little to do with him. I mean, it's kind of like common sense. Like, you just lower interest rates. We're in a tech boom.
There wasn't a lot of debt.
There wasn't, his chairmanship was
he took credit
for
stuff.
It's like Bill Clinton claiming that, I had the best economy. Well, it happened to be during the .com boom.
Yeah, and you just deregulated.
And a bunch of innovation, that took place totally beyond the control or influence of a fucking bureaucracy like that.
And that's where all the death knell against the manufacturing base happened under Clinton with NAFTA and then later CAFTA with Bush, and it was all there to kind of create this exploitative zone that was the United States. This is now just the big trough where everyone
they benefited from the rise of the tech companies because that was a pressure relief valve for all these disenfranchised laborers,
Right.
you know, and it became like, well, yeah, who wants a blue collar job anyways? When you can have a white collar job. And that's the rise of the office complex and the office culture. That's when Mike Judge came out with The Office, and that resonated because that was the work setting that a lot of people found themselves in.
Right, office space, exactly.
So it's just more of the same. I mean, it really is more of the same. The way the pendulum has swung from Biden to Trump, like I will say government shutdown 38 days, I think, at this point.
Definitely now the record. Yeah.
I still believe this is a lot of theater.
Oh, absolutely.
It's very theatrical.
It's all market
and it's
shenanigans to a great extent.
It's like mind games, essentially, were being played, and like this whole, the way the media is presenting it, like SNAP benefits are going to run out, and you've got Alex Jones over here talking about people who are legitimately saying, like, we're going to start looting. Well, they're already looting.
Right. They're already doing.
This is already happening. Like, organized crime is at a peak right now. You know, like shoplifting and stuff like that. It's rampant. It's absolutely rampant. So I see it more as just a progression, a natural progression.
Yeah, this is a normalization schema within a demoralization broader trend.
Yeah.
They're trying to normalize worsening conditions as only the fault of this, puppet regime governmental structure. That's
I actually see it as being a weapon of statism.
Oh, sure.
Obviously, because now the pendulum can swing the other way. We've got this proof positive example of, hey, look, you wanted your anti-status Trump to get in there, MAGA. Well, look how bad these people are hurting now. So now I think you're going to see people who they maybe not hard MAGA loyalists, but there's some people in the camp who have principles around small government and libertarian ideas and stuff like that. But I think there's a lot of people who voted for Trump who did so reluctantly, and perhaps didn't even vote for him the first time, who were just like, hey, like, the opposition is so fucking bad, like it's playing into the whole lesser of two evils type of thing. And I'm saying maybe those people, with the charade, the theater of the government shutdown and whatnot, perhaps they are saying to themselves, maybe a little socialism isn't that bad. Maybe we need a little socialism, because look at all these people who are hurt, by the government shutdown. We can't cut them off, can we? Like, are we that kind of society? And it's like, that's totally the wrong, in my opinion.
That's the cul-de-sac they want you in.
That is the cul-de-sac that they want you in. The question, what this whole issue reveals to me is like, or should reveal to other people, in my opinion, is like, this is a dependence we have that we need to get away from as fast as possible. And just kicking the can and turning the payments back on, look, as painful as it is, and maybe there's some sort of transitionary period where payments are turned back on, but like we're gonna set parameters for you to come off of them,
right?
With XYZ type of behavior that we want to see. We can't subsidize not working. We can't subsidize non-productivity. Like,
but
it doesn't.
It
attracts it. COVID was super intoxicating, and that's another.
That was a huge bellwether in that agenda of over domestication.
Totally, because it got people who would have never ever imagined accepting or applying for any kind of welfare. But it's like, shit, you're sending $5,000 check. I went and looked at it. Like, I was gainfully employed, but my wife's not. She's a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, can I get $5K? Y'all have taken so much money from me already. Can I get a little bit of it back? Of course, I didn't qualify. So, or she didn't qualify. I don't know why not. Like, I wasn't even going to bother spending the time. My point is, like, to your point, that was a major. You throw around free money like that, it's intoxicating.
I mean, and people saw that and they felt that, and they kind of never looked back. And it
became an entitlement.
It became an entitlement at that point. And you have, dozens of millions of people in the country who have basically been inured to work for whatever reason. Some of those reasons could be legitimate. Many of them are just basically chips on the shoulder kind of entitlement disorder that, again, was socially engineered. It's not maybe necessarily entirely their fault for feeling the way that they feel. But at the same time, it's like, look at the net outcome. Look at the net result from all of this appeasement that's gone on. Appeasing these kind of renegade rogue populations in a lot of ways. I mean, I think that if you look at how the messaging is in the education complex around, America and what it owes populations and why people can just, feel entitled to come here and, get things provided for them just to exist because of their, holy otherness,
There's a basic, economic adage that, I don't know how it exactly goes, but basically, whatever you subsidize, you get more of, and whatever you tax, you get less of.
If you give a mouse a cookie, it's going to want some milk.
Right.
I mean, let's just boil it right down to brass tacks. That's what it is.
And we had covered, many episodes ago, the subject of transableism, and actually our neighbor here in Wake County, North Carolina, Crystal, who became blind by choice through some very amoral psychiatrist who poured drain cleaner in her eyeballs. And now, from what I can tell, she's on disability. Yeah. And that's the kind of story that, the socialists do not want to acknowledge as being a foundational, systemic problem within any of these kind of welfare programs. It's like, you have to understand human nature a little bit, which ties into economics. Like, when you create these incentives, you create the behavior and the motivation. Yeah. And I wanted to bring that up because it's relevant to this whole welfare subject, but it also, there was something for this show, I went through our Telegram chat, which has been super active, even though we haven't had a show since May.
It's really its own stream. I mean, I'll tune in every couple days.
I don't even know who's posting.
I don't mean either.
I'm not posting. Some,
but yeah, I mean, it's actually a pretty lively little stream.
And there's 50 members, which is amazing.
And
we need more.
It's like a private news convo kind of going on all the time. And there's several, I'd say at least 40 or 50 impressions any given day or two. I mean, it's pretty good headlining.
It's a good mix. We get funny stuff,
yes,
non-serious stuff from time to time. I know I've posted stuff that's just cool, music or crafts and stuff like that. But check out our Telegram if you guys are listening. You can find there's a button on ztitic.news to the Telegram. You could probably also search it in Telegram. But this was one of the things tying back to the transableism that I knew you would want to talk about.
Oh yeah, this is key.
And that is the NHS surgeon Neil Hopper, who was considered to go to space as a para-astronaut in 2020, but has instead been jailed for 2 years after it was proven he caused the loss of his own legs as part of an amputation fetish.
Oh man,
and I know
this one's rich.
I mean, he's
Wait
a surgeon,
second.
so maybe he can pay for his own way.
Right.
But like, my point was, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting like disability benefits over there in the UK.
For sure.
Just like Crystal, like I mentioned. And if you guys have
Absolutely.
never heard that story, look up Crystal, BIID. I forget what that stands for. It's exact body image dysmorphia,
yeah.
where she wanted to become blind.
Body image identity or
Yeah.
something.
This is a thing. This guy, you know what? I literally heard my kids say earlier today they want to be an astronaut. That's like a thing like you aspire to. You want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be an astronaut. They're all in that same category. This guy's a doctor who wanted to also be an astronaut, but he went to jail because he cut off his own legs as part of an amputation fetish.
And it's like, oh, they're calling it an amputation fetish here, but in other examples and contexts, it's, you know, their true identity, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, this one's really.
I knew you would love this one.
Well, because it touches on all the schizophrenia going on.
Right.
It touches on all of the inversion narratives that have to be pretzel logicked together to form some sort of, you know, pseudo coherent narrative around what's value, what's enlightenment, what's progress in the society. It's accepting all these schizophrenic pretzel logic inversion narratives, apparently.
Right. It highlights the psychopathy of the current state. I just sent this. We have a chat going on Instagram, and I shared this, I think, on Tuesday. And it's just like, we have become so deranged as a society, and this is a really, I think, a good example of that.
Miss?
Good. I'm one of those. I want money.
You're trans?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what makes you trans?
It says prove trans people exist, win, I think, $100 or $1,000. She comes up, she says, I want money. I'm one of those, I want money.
I don't feel gender.
You don't what?
Don't feel a certain gender identity.
Okay, so just a belief system?
Yeah.
Just a feeling? Are you male to female?
No.
Female to male?
No.
You said you're trans though?
Yes.
What are you?
It's a spectrum.
I know, but like for you specifically?
Non-binary?
So if I said, can you prove to me, like, can you show me a rock? You would be able to show me a rock.
Yeah.
If I said, show me a tree, we can see a tree right there.
Yeah.
How can we do that with trans people?
You're looking at me.
You're just a human though.
Okay.
You hold a certain belief. You hold a mental state, but that doesn't mean you're that thing. Or how about this? I'm Superman.
Okay, good for you.
Am I Superman?
You could be, I don't know.
How would we know if I'm Superman or not?
That's up to you. If you think you're Superman, you're Superman.
This is where we're at, guys.
Well, this is actually one of the tenets of sort of the postmodern nihilist existentialism that's really, I think, dovetailed at the hip with a lot of the neo-Marxist hyperstatist stuff. Is the postmodern,
they depend on each other.
Yeah, they're actually tied at the hip because the postmodern stuff runs cover on the individual level to sort of deconstruct any sort of motivation for objectivity and proper subjectivization as well. Meanwhile, on the macro level, the tropes and the egregores and the inversion narratives that are sown very much in a sort of Marxian light can sort of really take hold in people's psyche while they're being decentered and while they're being deconstructed with all of this let's call it pseudo-skepticism.
Yeah.
It's skepticism about things that you really probably shouldn't be that skeptical about. and it's being very open and accepting of things that you really ought to be really kind of more than skeptical about, like openly cynical about. And so again, it's all these inversion narratives that are being sown in mass, and people just kind of are along for the ride at this point because, again, that's part of the over-domestication agenda that's been in place since before World War I, really. Really, the Federal Reserve kind of kicked that notion off that if we're going to completely develop a money system that's based on pure authoritarian decree however legitimate or illegitimate it might be at any given point, you would need a population that would have to be very comfortable, very content, very complacent, very obsequious, exactly. And you need them to sort of have a mental environ that is easily easily acquiesces to that disposition. And so that's where the sci-li stuff comes in. You know, the scientific materialism and the pseudoscientific charlatanry matrix, that's there to sort of lull people into sort of a authoritarian complacency that says, oh yeah, the experts have got it figured out.
There's some things we can all agree on.
There's some things
right?
that, you know, even regardless of what your belief is, it just has to be the case because this is what's taught, and this is what people with really expensive degrees and nice houses say reality is. Therefore, this is what reality is. You know, and that kind of philosophical premise easily percolates to these other agendas. You know, once you have the population in this sort of super relativistic trance, essentially, you can imbue a lot of these other falsehoods and misdirections much more easily. And so that's an example of that. Like, oh, well, if you're Superman, you can just pretend you're Superman, and the pretension is the reality. And it's like, oh wow, like, you know, Henry Kissinger
is magical thinking type stuff.
This is like, yeah, exactly. It's like Kissinger is like, you know, blushing in his grave at this point. Like, it is not the truth that matters, only the perception of the truth.
Hey, speaking of grave, we do have something we can maybe clink our glasses to, and that's that that Dick Cheney has passed away.
That is a toast,
and you know, not a
deathbed confession to be had there.
I was going to say something to the effect of, you know, wish it had happened a lot sooner. I mean, the guy, how many heart transplants and installations did he have? I mean, there are probably, well, you know, many more deserving people to have their life extended than him, but emblematic in a way of the dying of the system. And I also have to relish, you know, on that note, the government shutdown. There's some you know, some people might be feeling disenfranchised and so on, but like, I hate to say, but like,
it doesn't affect my life in one way, apparently.
Well, yeah. Now, I don't think you fly a whole lot.
No,
but I get on airplanes at least once or twice a month, and I have to say I've never been more concerned that my airplane's going to crash.
Ooh,
you know,
that is scary.
But on the other side of the coin, I understand that the TSA has been working for at least a couple of weeks without pay, expecting some sort of breakthrough in the government shutdown so that they can get their back pay. Someone posted on someone posted on our Telegram a couple funny Babylon Bee articles about that, where, what did it say? Yeah, furloughed TSA agents go door to door offering to grope people for free. And it's interesting. I've traveled. I've been to Miami and Atlanta a couple times in the last 2 months, and I don't have a real ID, but you know, you might not even be aware, but that's like quote unquote official now.
It's becoming.
I think it was May where it was quote unquote required, but I haven't got one
yet.
Yet.
For flights or
for flights,
international,
even domestic,
even domestic.
Okay, so let me break this down.
Oh man,
so
that sucks.
It's required for domestic, or you can use a passport. So if you have a passport, you don't have to get the real ID. I used to have a passport.
So you have to use your passport if you don't want the real ID for domestic air travel.
Correct.
Oh my god.
And so check this out. I started a new job, and I needed to travel for it. but I didn't have a real ID. I don't want to get a real ID.
Right.
I had a passport, but I lost it. So I
Mm-hmm.
I need to apply for a new one, but that takes forever, and I didn't have time to wait for it. So I just took my chance, went to the airport with my regular. I actually called ahead, and I asked them, okay, so like, here's my situation. Are you going to let me get on the plane? And they're like, oh yeah, you can come with your regular ID and we'll put you through some additional screening process to verify your identity. And I said,
how does that work?
That's exactly what I asked. I said, can you explain what you want me to bring, like, to comply with that? And they're like, no, we can't tell you.
Oh,
and I said, so what do I need to bring, though, so that I can
still go on the flight?
Optimize my potential to get on the plane. And she's like, just yourself and your ID. And I'm like, well, what more do you need from me then?
Right.
What more are you going to do? So here's what happens.
Okay.
You go with your regular ID.
Mm-hmm.
You go up. They screen. You hand it to the person before you step in the X-ray line, and they say, well, first of all, they have a new camera there that takes a image of your face. So you want to fly, they're taking it. Now, they have a sign that says you can opt out, but it's clearly AI, like facial recognition.
No doubt.
Okay, 100%. So to me, they're phasing out the TSA agents themselves.
For sure.
That'll be robots in the future.
Yeah.
TSA agents don't even fucking understand that.
No.
And if they do, they're helpless anyways. So, but you can opt out of it. You don't have to take, and so I always opt out of it. But then they look at your ID and they say, do you have a real ID? And I say, nope. And they say, okay. My most recent flight, they were like, well, by November 1st, like, you're not going to be able to, and he like mumbled under his breath. And I said, whatever, dude, just like let me on the plane. But what they do is they hand you a pink card.
Oh, wow.
And the pink card means you don't have a real ID, so you have to go through additional screening. It's no difference to me because I always get a pat down anyways because I refuse to go on the naked body scanners. So it's like the lesser of two evils if I want to fly domestically. So I always do that. I have always done that for the last 13 years. And the only difference in the pat down, so get this, the additional identity verification is they rub the little cotton I don't know if you've ever been through a pat down there, but they do. Sometimes they'll pull this little fabric thing that's like on a wand and they rub it on your bags and stuff, and then they supposedly put that in this stupid fucking machine to like detect for explosives.
Oh, okay.
So they do that on your hands. That's it. That's the only difference. And I'm like, this is such a fucking charade. It's just security theater.
Security
you guys
theater.
are idiots.
Yeah.
You're obsolete. This is all going to go to robots, and honestly, the robots will probably do a better job than the TSA.
I mean, and if once full robotics are in, you're not even gonna need airports anymore.
True.
Airports are bye-bye. I mean, maybe they'll be finally cheap like they ought to have been the entire time. Because eventually people are just gonna have personal aerial vehicles or some sort of mag.
I sent you a clip recently, and it was of this guy who had a personal drone.
Yeah.
Like Silver Surfer, like fucking standing on it like a skateboard.
Yep.
And he had a video. I wish I had it up, but I'd have to go look for it. But he was talking about how, to fly a vehicle like that, the government controls the air.
Right.
You have to go ask permission. He has to talk to the control tower. I can see the argument. Like, you want things to be orderly. You don't want people crashing and stuff, but
think about how disorderly the roads are.
Yeah.
And how many damn people are on the roads all the time, and how much literally exponential more space there is
in the air. Sky. It's like people will figure it out. I feel like you don't really need that kind of strict.
And also, we have all these sensors on cars for like auto laning and stuff. You can easily create those sensors.
It's not that we shouldn't have air traffic control. That's not not my argument. I'm just saying it shouldn't, like, the most efficient way to govern that is not through monopoly. And that's what we have is the FAA's monopoly.
And
they control the air. It's just like
bureaucracies.
the government owns the electromagnetic spectrum, and they license it out, to the telecom company.
And that's another fraud, is the whole energy fraud. I mean, we've had mass scale, extremely low to free cost energy technology for over 100 years.
Since Tesla, at least.
And that's been suppressed. So that's not even in the $280 trillion that I was talking about before.
Well, when you consider that, it's infinite.
It's quadrillions.
It's literally infinite. It's like we would be in. And I hate to even use this term because of
I mean, the Jetsons,
space age. Space age.
The Jetsons would look like Flintstones.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And there would be basically no such thing as poverty.
Right.
And there probably wouldn't even be, with that much, distributed wealth over the actual polity, there'd be no need for government. Everyone would
it'd be obsolete.
You'd be obsolete. Yeah.
And you could have independent
sovereigns. Everyone is an independent sovereign, and there are just rules of conduct and armed societies apply to society.
But the market would devise forms of governance that competed with other forms of governance in that market that proved its value. I mean, like, for example, you didn't need the government to devise the universal serial bus, USB standard. Right. Like, that was a consortium of companies who realized that they could all mutually benefit from devising and promoting this standard. And to do that, they had to develop a standard that was easier to use, universal, truly, in a plug-and-play sense, and had mainstream adoption. And so, like, I forget the exact companies, but it's IBM, Microsoft, Compaq. Like, there was a bunch of companies that came out with this standard. We've been living with it ever since. Like, the government, I don't think they had very much, if anything, to do with it.
Yeah. The government, when we say government, it's really just the front-facing public.
It's the monopolization of power.
Yeah.
Government itself, like family, is the smallest form of government. Like you as a father, me as a father, we govern our household. Your mother, the mother governs the household. Like mother and father together, they govern the household. That's not inherently bad.
No.
Which is like what a lot of I've found, people on the other side of the aisle, so to speak, they immediately jump to the conclusion, well, you're just anti-government, like, overall. And it's kind of like, I'm anti the government we have, but, I mean, governing...
I'm also anti-government that is not based on efficacious bonds, right? Because at least in the context of a family, the presumed efficacy there of rulership is that there's a bond between the parent and the child. What the problem with government today is
I don't have a nexus with them.
There's no efficacious bond.
Yeah, I don't owe you anything.
Nothing.
But yet you're saying I need your permission to get married.
Right.
Like,
It's like
what the fuck is that?
This is non-reciprocal, non-efficacious bonds. And so, yeah, if you had a legitimate polity that was truly represented on kind of as close to a one-to-one basis as possible, then yes, you would have a legitimate macro government. But we don't have any examples of that, really.
Right.
There's never been a time in history where there's been anywhere close to a one-to-one representation ratio. Not even close. Like right now it's what, 1 to 1.9 million or something. For every one person in government, they impact, the representation quotient is so low that you need 1.9 million people basically in their votes to equate to a payoff of one politician. In It's especially if you look at, you know, a big city like New York, right?
Right.
It's been proven that $2 billion in lobbying money is roughly the equivalent of 2 million votes. So people's vote is like worth $1 in this current system. Seriously. That's how worthless it is. So until that system of lobbying stranglehold is held accountable, you don't have government. You have a casino table.
Right.
You have a mafia racket. You don't have a government. You have a organized tyranny. And I agree. And so in that sense, I'm not anti-government, because I think that it technically and ideally, that's what you would want to strive to achieve, is a orderly society based on efficacious bonds and reciprocity and representation between the public and the councilship, you might say.
Right.
You know, really government in its purest form is like a council of elders that have seen it all and have regard for their community, right? And even then, there can be corruption. So imagine a society today where the corruption is so hyperbolic because there's no real allegiance to the public. The people in government see themselves as little neo-aristocrats.
I've seen it myself.
They think they rule over you and that they're better than you. Not that you employ them and that they're dependent on your approval. And that's what's happened is through the complete erosion of civic consciousness and engagement over the past 70 years at least. You just have this massive explosion in complete moral opprobrium amongst the elite, and that's become normalized, and it's now they're incentivized to keep committing the evil and the fraud in order to insulate themselves from the rope that ought to be due to them.
Yeah. Well, let's hope, like we saw, I think it was 2009, 2008, maybe 2011, some of those movers and shakers, the lever pullers, if you will, in the financial system, jumping out of a 10, 20, 30 story building to kill themselves, once they realize their house of cards has fallen.
Yeah.
I am praying for that.
Yeah, I'd like to see all of the BlackRock executives do that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And
maybe Microsoft too. That'd be great.
Yeah, there's some good people lower level, but at the top, at the tippy top, we played on an earlier clip back when Trump was fresher in office, announcing layoffs at the IRS. Certain employees who loved their work, really broken up by the fact that they were no longer deemed essential workers. And were laid off essentially. We're seeing that now, like
psyop during the COVIDiocracy.
I literally saw a headline on local news this week where they were featuring. They had a story about if you go to your local IRS office, they've got signs up on the front like, due to the government shutdown, we're unable to help you. And I'm like, You thought I wanted your help? You're going to help me what? Pay more taxes? Like, I'm so happy that you guys need to seek work somewhere else. Do something productive.
Right.
Like, there are certain things it's not all bad. I think overall we're still seeing a continuation of the theater and the can kicking and the continued CPR that we seem to be giving to the mainstay, the kind of like mainstream, like, we got to government shutdown, but Israel's going to continue to get its money. We're going to continue to funnel weapons into Ukraine. Like, we're still going to fund this and we're still going to fund that. But there's also, you know, I think if this government shutdown continued for, say, another month and another month, there would be, you know, the people who depend on things, they would find a way to adapt, I think. And then the people who don't necessarily depend, but their interface with government is at the airport or, you know, where else do you see it? Like, parking ticket, like, you know,
getting pulled over,
like, hey, maybe some of the bureaucracy, like if you need to do paperwork for this or that doesn't get done, and that might be frustrating if you care about paperwork. You know, but like, maybe out of this, people will start to say to themselves, you know, did we really fucking need all this anyways?
No.
Did we need this? Is it helpful for me to go to the IRS office, or is it not productive? I've never been to one, but like, I can't imagine a scenario where it would be productive to go there unless I was trying to avert losses. That would be the only way, is like if I was in some sort of pickle with them that I couldn't avoid, and I would somehow be less worse off than I would be otherwise to go there. Like, they're not helping me with anything. They're helping me, like, I guess, avoid jail. They're helping me pay less than I otherwise would. But I'm still getting fucked is the point. Like, so, you know, I'm okay with them losing their job. I really am. Like, I feel bad for their kid if they don't get as nice of a Christmas because they're innocent in this matter. But like, you know, I don't feel bad for you.
No.
As an employee, like, find another fucking job.
Right.
Honestly.
Right. I mean, you know,
take a look in the mirror.
Yeah. Seriously. I mean, the thing is, we've created so many malincentives that have been normalized to such an extent in terms of career paths that it's part of this over domestication agenda to do kind of these basically adult daycare type jobs. I mean,
right.
And that's in every single government department has thousands of just adult daycare jobs where you get some kind of stipend for this.
I literally, I mean, a family friend of mine, she didn't always work for the government, but she found kind of like a retirement job for the government. Like, just wanted to earn some extra money. And I asked her, what do you like about the job? And she's like, what I like about it is when I go in the morning, I lock my office door and I take a nap. Like, literally.
Bingo.
And hey, I don't even blame you. Like, hey,
that's good
for you. Like, you get a nap and you get paid for it. Like, there's a lot of I follow a lot of like Office Space because I'm in a corporate America type legacy job, and so a lot of the you know, the memography out there and the jokes and stuff about like corporate life, I laugh about, but it's like it's a common one to see out there. Like, you know, I'm taking a 20-minute shit and getting paid on the, you know, the corporate dime. You know, like I don't even blame you.
Yeah, I don't blame
like,
you.
Hey, they let you fucking take a nap and you get paid for it. Like, hey, good for you. But like, come on, fundamentally,
it's like, you know, you're only going to get away with that for so long. Right. You know, you realize that the employer knows this.
You're just enjoying this while it lasts. Basically.
Exactly.
But hey, let's take a bio break. I gotta take a whiz, and I've really enjoyed the discussion so far. If you guys are just listening, check out our video stream on YouTube. You can find us on ztitic.news. That's our homepage. What is it?
ZETET.
It's kind of hard to spell. ZETETIC. Ztitic.news. We're the first next generation news network powered by the Theta Network. And it is remember the 5th of November, episode 54. I wish it was 55. That would have made it perfect.
That would have been crazy. Oh my god.
On the super moon.
On the super moon, right.
2025. We'll be back.
shortly.
Some truths can't be articulated in words. They live in gesture, in texture, in silence. They ask us to turn inward to the world within. The art that arises from this space may seem quiet, but beneath the stillness, there's motion, a way of knowing that bypasses language. In this episode, we're asking what it means to turn inward. Can inner life become a mode of inquiry, even connection? And might ambiguity be the very ground where transformation begins? These are some of the questions we'll explore on Edge of Reason. A limited series podcast produced by Atlantic Rethink, the Atlantic's creative marketing studio, in partnership with Hauser & Wirth, a home to visionary modern and contemporary artists. Today, we meet two creative voices shaped by the interior, artist Ange Smith and curator Zoe Whitley. In a world hungry for clarity and speed, their work opens space for pausing, for complexity, and for deep looking. Together, they explore what emerges when uncertainty becomes a site for reflection, imagination, and connection. First, we meet Ange Smith, a painter based in London, whose work draws you in slowly, almost imperceptibly, into worlds that feel both intimate and expansive. Her paintings are dense with detail, merging portraiture, landscape, and still life. In pieces like But Tell It Slant and Intermittence, figures and vistas emerge like apparitions, fragile, mysterious, and emotionally charged. Through layered symbolism and psychological nuance, Ange transforms the act of seeing into something disorienting and contemplative. Ange, we're so happy to have you here with us on Edge of Reason.
Oh, thank you for having me.
When you think about the phrase, the world within, what does it mean to you?
One of my favorite cultural connoisseurs sort of reframed Voltaire's quote when he said, "One must cultivate one's own inner garden." And that, of course, was André Léon Talley. And I think he just reframed that to encourage people to dig deep and to put the effort into perhaps thinking in a slightly different way than we are currently culturally conditioned to do so. So it's almost like an invitation to explore and to do the deep dive, and hopefully the arts, when they are functioning as I believe they should, reward that. And I think when that effort is made, what that can do to one's interiority and one's inner life is it can disrupt a kind of settled coherence. I feel very strongly at the moment that we are living through a moment where public discussion and public rhetoric is incredibly simplified and very boorish and almost designed to manipulate and to reduce down. And actually, if we keep our critical skills really sharp, then we are less likely to be manipulated. And so actually, I feel as though it's something that we need to do for ourselves, really, so that we can avoid being manipulated in that way.
Thank you so much for that. In terms of the trajectory of your career, was there a moment in which you decided to take that inward turn to move to a more interior type of direction in your work?
It's interesting. I think various different biographical factors in my life have meant that I have felt on the outside of things. I think my natural language, both the inner voice that speaks in my head, but also the visual languages that I respond to in the arts, are always quite ambiguous. I'm very suspicious of neat and easy conclusions and labels and genres, and even the expectation that concrete conclusion can and should be reached. I feel as though a lot of those old certainties are perhaps a hangover from the colonial past or from patriarchy. I have a great philosophical interest in dialetheism, for example, where something can be true and false. It can be itself and a negation of itself at the same time. I'm more interested in that lens to look through in order to process life events and thoughts that I have in the studio.
Now, I would never want to reduce you to biography, but you did mention life events and thoughts. And you're the daughter of an Irish Catholic mother and a Cockney father. And so you grew up during a time in which that was really a fraught identity to hold. Was that one of the reasons you perhaps began to see the world differently than maybe your peers did?
Yes, certainly. Growing up in the 80s, the two cultures cancelled each other out in certain ways. But it was incredibly useful just to know from the beginning that actually there is not one way of understanding history, for example, or one way of viewing events. And that has been incredibly important, I think, something that I've never felt that I needed to revisit. There are so many different viewpoints on any particular event. And I guess the challenge for me as an artist is, how do you create something material like a painting which bears witness to these different currents and the sort of intangible things that are so complex?
Thank you so much, Ange. There's a lot to sit with in what you just shared. The idea that there's no single way to understand history, and the burden of holding multiple truths at once. And that sense of multiplicity and the power of ambiguity, those feel like perfect entry points to be able to bring in our next guest today, Zoe Whitley. Zoe is a curator and writer based in London, known for organizing exhibitions that are as emotionally resonant as they are visually striking. Whether highlighting the spiritual carvings of self-taught artist Elijah Pierce or the Black Power urgency of Soul of a Nation, her curatorial voice is unmistakable, intuitive, reflective, and deeply attuned to the inner lives of artists. Rather than guiding viewers towards fixed meaning, she creates space for ambiguity, feeling, for slow looking, amplifying works that linger in the body long after the image fades. Zoe, welcome to Edge of Reason.
Thank you, Jeff. It's so great to be here with you and Ange. This is very exciting.
Yes, I'm excited as well. So in your work, you've been especially attuned to the inner lives and worlds of artists. I think this is something that a lot of the artists that you work with say about you. I wonder if, as you are hearing Ange talk about her moment of emergence and the ways in which she has come to approach the work that she does, if you similarly kind of remember a moment where you first felt compelled to dive inward, to express your inner world creatively.
I love this question because it actually takes me back to being a very awkward high schooler when I was making artwork. I remember the first time I saw the film Black Orpheus as a teenager, and I decided that for the first painting that was assigned for a 10th grade class, that I was going to stretch my own canvas 6 feet by 5 feet. I don't know what I was thinking. And that I was going to paint the scene after the death scene. So spoiler alert, it's when Eurydice and Orpheus are falling off the cliff. And this is my first ever painting. So you've got like 2 foreshortened figures and this rocky landscape. And I'm also apparently going to paint Brazil. I don't know. But I think that sense of being so animated and fired up by what one artist or a group of artists were doing on screen, that I wanted to be a part of it in some way, or for other people to be able to refer back to the source material. I mean, even in the 2 examples of my previous work that you've given, both of those were co-curated projects. And I just love working with other people. So I think that for me, so much of an inner world is about how my own thoughts and opinions are shaped and often reshaped by being in conversation with other people, being exposed to their view of the world. And that's always something I've experienced when I'm in front of Ange's works, this kind of jewel-like wonder, and in a way that, to many of Ange's points, are exciting to me precisely because in art history, once you learn a little bit of it, there's a compulsion to categorize, to say, oh, I know what this is. This is like a new version of this period. And I think so much of what Ange is doing confounds those things that might kind of rush us to judgment.
Let's bring in the both of you now and open up the conversation. And I wanted to start by talking about history, about art history, right? About legacy, about labels, about the ways that artists and their work get boxed in. And so maybe this is a question for both of you. How do you navigate the weight of history and the silos that it tries to put you in, even as you're engaging with art history, right? Trying to do something new. Is it about turning inward towards inner worlds as a way to achieve a kind of escape velocity from the gravity of art history? And Ange, maybe we can start with you.
Immigration system does need to be fair if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. Otherwise, it undermines trust, undermines people's faith that we're on their side, and their belief that the state can and will work for them. And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. Because decent, pragmatic, fair-minded people, they want us to tackle the issues that they see around them. And of course, the truth is, we won't solve our problems if we don't also take on the root causes. Our immigration system does need to be fair if we want to maintain.
Wow.
That's some pretty high grade Orwell speak there, dude.
So we're going to help you by making it mandatory to get this digital ID or else you can't work.
And so
thanks for the help.
Don't they want more IDs, right? The more people there are, the more IDs they can dole out. Kind of.
You would think.
So doesn't that just continue to grease the skids for the incentive of, you know, London becoming, you know, little Mogadishu? You know? I mean, seems like there isn't any real resistance. The digital
here's the carrot. Just come get the ID and you're in.
Just come get the ID and you're in.
You're in.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that gives all this biometric and, you know, info data to game all kinds of other agendas based on that data.
I heard another clip where it's going to say, oh, it's so much easier to pay for things. And it's like, guys, is it that hard today? It's so hard to pay for stuff.
Cash takes
we need the government to mandate that we
time.
have a digital ID or we can't work to make it easier to pay. Oh, that's interesting.
Easier to pay. This is another one of these technological innovations that follows the hyperbolic growth in our ability to watch a screen.
Right.
It makes it so easy for us to just transact value. But based on the current system, value is largely interchanged through, you know, not the most transparent means all the time. You know, do people who use PayPal know all the board of directors' investments just like offhand, like off the top of their head?
Of course not.
No. So, you know, it's not a neutral monetary means, right? This is company store digitization of the plantation, of the worker combine, and
do you think maybe there's some big tech companies that are excited about this mandate?
Oh,
like,
man.
Government doesn't produce anything. They
are.
have to hire the private sector essentially and bring them over to their side in order to get anything done. Just look at NASA. You think like literally bureaucrats are in there like building stuff? Like if they're even launching anything, it's through companies like SpaceX or Boeing, you know?
Right.
They're private sector. This is literally this is where I actually agree with the left, you know, like they're like, oh, fascist. They're fascists. And it's
well,
like,
duh.
They've
That's
been
only
that
one-
way
it's been that way.
for however, like literally there's a fascist on
The
in
congressional
the congressional house.
chamber,
The chamber, like on either side of the podium.
Right.
It was on the dime, the 10-cent piece. Memorialized on our money, a fascist. So like this is nothing new. That's like where I disagree with a lot of TDS types, who are just like so spun around the axle on Trump and like, it's
conflict of
so,
interest.
so terrible. Like,
absolutely.
He's fascist. Like we see the fascist rise. We have dictatorship, and it's like, I've been talking about that, but you didn't want to hear it when it was the pendulum was swinging the other way, and you had your chosen candidate because you're still in the red right left paradigm, Coke versus Pepsi like
politics,
mentality. It is a problem. Like big tech censorship during COVID. It's been very interesting to see Zuckerberg, come out as like admitting that. I think that was something that happened in the last 5 months. Like there was a congressional hearing or something where Facebook had like admitted essentially that the government pressured them to censor during COVID, and it was like we're regretful somehow, and we're going to be better now. And it's like that's to me that was like clearly like PR, like, hey, we've got a new regime in here, we need to curry favor with them. They want to be seen as free speech advocates, whereas maybe the past regime was kind of okay, not necessarily carrying that flag. They were okay with admitting, we need to censor, we need to control, misinformation, especially medical, because, not one more death in COVID. But now we have a administration who at least wants to appear as free speech advocates. So we're going to come out and we're going to be with you. And Mark Zuckerberg's all tight with Dana White, and he goes to the UFC fights, and he has a partnership with the UFC, and Trump likes fighting too. And so like we're gonna that's our shtick.
And Warren Buffett likes vanilla ice cream. And,
right, exactly.
Rockefeller likes to pass out pennies, and is this all the same tactics and tricks that have been refined over the generations? Just the current iteration is perhaps a little more blatant, perhaps a little bit more hubristic and flagrant in its standardization of hypocritical rule and Orwellian newspeak. It's like, how does being cataloged in a private data mine bonanza equal government protecting your rights? It's like it's complete doublespeak to try to say, oh, you're benefiting from being in the Palantir.
Right.
Don't worry, if you were in the United Kingdom, like, you are a Palantir serf. Like, absolutely. Like, they're just kind of coming out and saying, look, the technocracy is just being rolled out according to whoever gets the most no-bid contracts in this new oil data bonanza.
Literally,
superstate.
Literally what's happening is government says, we want to do this. Here's a request for proposal.
Right.
Here's a request for information. This is what we want to do. I'll never forget. It was like 2012. I was working at a big data management company. And as a data management company whose revenue came from 50% of our revenue came from financial services companies. We were the recipient of requests from proposal. So what companies do is when they want something done, they put out a request for proposal or request for information. It's called a RFP or RFI. And then they send it out to various companies who they've already decided are good candidates to provide this service. And then the companies answer these things and compete for the business. So that's how it works. Is like the government, they create the incentive for the companies to move, to react. And then the companies either have a product that fits that need, or they might develop it, to fit that need, because they see the dollar signs associated, which is, by the way, stolen money from the taxpayers to do this thing. I remember when Obamacare came about, and they were going to create this health data exchange and create this website, and God knows where that data even went. But it was, from what I all read, internal industry like chatter back and forth, it was a complete disaster, complete failure. The website didn't work. Data was all over the place, wasn't secure. Nobody, basically it was created a new reporting mechanism for people who were not insured, and a requisite tax on top of that. Like if you weren't insured, it created a lever for the IRS to pull for penalties that you weren't insured. And I just have to laugh when I'm at some ghetto street corner and I see call this 1-800 number, get some Obamacare. Like, what? There's no Obamacare.
What has this become?
Like no Obamacare. It's just basically a data harvesting exercise.
Right. And then it appears inexpensive to begin with, but then the second you start using it, it goes up. And the more you pay for it, the more I feel like you need to go back to the doctor to get your money's worth. And it just keeps escalating. And then, I got to get off the insurance now and just lay low and not go to the doctor anymore. And then they're like, we have all this data on you now. Like, it's just like the digital Stasi. Every little government portal, like interface, nexus that exists is there to kind of create this Five Eyes super state.
Since we're talking about the medical super surveillance system, which is just
it's daunting.
It's daunting. It's also advancing with wearables and what the insurance providers are doing. So the big thing in the future is going to be
self-reporting, social media.
They're going to be
medicine.
I think medicine. Actually where it's going is like the wearables industry. Okay, this is like, we'll see where we're at in 5 years, but this is just like my take on it. Watches, this and that. There'll be a market for that, but
micro injectables, wearable micro, like schedulable micro injections.
So actually, Alex Jones did a show recently where he had some kind of guy come on with a scanner.
Yeah.
He had some kind of scanner that would detect like nano, some kind of nano materials that were interfaceable. I'm making up words now, but like could be interfaced with like electronics, like and we're getting this stuff from the food,
right?
So where I'm going with this is the whole idea of like wearing a Fitbit. Some I don't know if people are familiar, but Fitbit's like it's a pedometer. I think it basically tracks your steps based on your gait. and your movement of your hands and all that stuff. Then you have like the Apple Watches, and you have heart rate monitors and stuff like that. They're going to come up with a way where most of that telemetry data can be captured from your phone, because they've already got everybody carrying a phone. So I think that again, the wearables, it'll take place. You'll get adopters. They'll be incentivized.
Yeah.
The higher resolution you're willing to provide, the better your rate is going to be on health insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So but like the baseline eventually will be, you have to share some amount, and basically again, the more data you share, some people won't be able to afford the fancy Apple Watch. They'll just maybe to get that benefit, they'll deal with the Fitbit, or maybe they'll just stick with their post. Yeah, but essentially you'll create a funnel, a data funnel between your existence and the insurance companies.
Absolutely.
Okay,
that's exactly what they want.
That's where it's going, and that will also roll up to the government,
and that'll be tied to the social credit.
It's all holistic, like the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, and this has been engineered. This has been thought of like 40, 50 years ago. All this stuff they were working on these,
and now they're just trying to technologically do the build out
generations ago.
And they also have to. It's not just creating the infrastructure; it's also creating the psychology for adoption. So
exactly, creating the PR framework to appease public resistance as well.
Yeah. And they're going to do this through decree, essentially.
Very similar to Sharia law.
Right.
They got that idea from, one of the, basically the stronger arm of the Abrahamic tyranny.
To just kind of hammer home the thrust. The thrust,
fast,
is
like fast food.
It's bilateral, bipartisan. Okay. The point I want to make here is this is happening. This is going on, and it's Trump. It really transcends the personalities who inhabit the office. Okay. This is fascism. It is fascism.
Absolutely. It's corporatocracy.
It's corporatocracy.
It's just a neo-fascism.
It's the insurance companies. Insurance is a heavily regulated industry.
And by regulated, it means that it's guild system
They have
protected.
to work with the government, and the government, just as an example, the premiums on homeowners insurance in North Carolina, that is negotiated essentially between the insurance companies and the government itself. So that is literally fascism. The definition is, I'm pretty sure it's the merger of the state and the corporations. Yeah. So when it comes to the healthcare thing, I just want to point out, this is something I learned about in my legacy job. The Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resource is basically a standard and set of rules and specifications for secure exchange of electronic healthcare data, which I don't want to go into too much detail as to reveal my identity, but eventually January 2027 will result in $1 million per infraction penalties for companies who do not comply with this standard.
Oh my God.
And Xavier, this stems from a law that was passed in 2016 by Trump. Okay. And the administration and the legislative makeup at that time. And this is basically to say, the basic idea is if you're a healthcare provider, if you're a healthcare insurer, what they call a payer, you have to set up these APIs, application programming interfaces, where you can transmit data about the patient or the insured from one to the other, which on its face, like, hey, again, I talked about USB standard earlier, universal serial bus. It's not a bad thing inherently to standardize the way you do things so that it's smoother from company to company.
Right.
But when I talk about like the fascism associated with the technocracy of collecting and sharing and collating cataloging the data of civilization, and the monetization of it.
And it's like you think about
this is transcends partisan lines. Is what the point I want to make.
Oh, absolutely. In the higher resolution and zettabytes of data that we get to, the more realistic AI will be able to replicate things.
The more it has to feed off of the absolutely.
So I mean, if you ever seen the movie The Beast, which I highly recommend as part of a double feature with the film Zoe, this kind of gives you kind of a big purview, a big glimpse into where a lot of this AI, robotics, transhumanist, technocracy sort of agenda is going.
And the true believer knows.
Oh, but we might go to that one in a second. But it just speaks to what they want, the context that they want to create in order for humans to internalize the idea that they are now obsolete and beholden to the system that is replacing them.
Right.
This is the project that's underway. And
I think that ties into the whole AI discussion around like the blurring lines between synthetic screen-based information and true reality.
Right. It's kind of showing you that the visual representation of isness or existence is arguably the least reliable, even though it's the one we depend on the most for our everyday sensory outlay. So in a way, there's kind of an occultic lesson that's being taught by this technocratic agenda.
Right.
There's like a left-hand path sort of
I want to segue
wisdom signaling here that like, hey, look at how we're able to get away with all this stuff just by representing it in a certain way.
So I think that's it's a perfect segue to another major topic I definitely wanted to discuss, and we got 30 minutes left in the show, 35 minutes.
We could go another 3
we could
easily.
Go another 3 hours, but I do have to get some sleep tonight.
Same.
As does Xavier. But along these lines of
this stuff is so funny though.
This is a major.
I must admit, you can create incredible satirical material in a very short period of time on a pretty high resolution basis.
I'm glad I remembered.
That is a silver lining for sure.
I'm glad I remembered to bring this up because this is definitely something I wanted to talk to you about. In the last 5 months, there have been major advancements in and we've talked about it a little bit already with respect to Charlie Kirk and the clip we opened with on the show, Jake GTV, who's an amazing creator in his own right, using AI to create incredible satirical, poignant, political I don't know what you call it, like
mockery skits.
Avant-garde cynicism video productions. But there have been major developments and advancements as if you're listening to this, you probably already know, AI video creation capabilities. And it's been something, that, like I said on our Telegram, like we don't just post like super serious stuff. There's an element of jest.
Yes.
And creativity and fun and
the wisdom of humor.
Yes. Yeah. But so ChatGPT, OpenAI, released Sora 2, which is their video creation model.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the social medias, at least on my algorithm as it's been trained, is like,
wow,
really kind of politically incorrect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think the major ones to encapsulate is like Stephen Hawking really kicked it off, which is amazing, and it makes me wonder: am I being targeted? Are we being targeted with these videos? And like, this isn't actually a pervasive reality to most people. Like,
look at the likes.
Yeah, you're right. Like, it's very popular. I think it has, reached the mainstream.
It's mainstream.
It's mainstream. But basically, I guess it started with like videos created by Sora of Stephen Hawking doing like X Games, skateboard,
completely impossible,
completely impossible, and then it went to like kind of politically incorrect depictions of Martin Luther King Jr.
MLK,
and let's see what else. Like, it also reminds me of like the George Droid memes, which we talked about on a previous show, I think.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about it, like the George Droid thing of just like these AI created videos that are highly satirical and poignant and
a little incendiary,
and politically incorrect. But let me play a couple of these.
How do you explain yourself? Here comes Professor Stephen Hawking making history from the 10-meter board. They're rolling him forward now. Tips, he's away! Full forward rotation, eyes on the water, and huge entry. Splash, but straight down. Underwater. The ref like he owns the play.
The wrestling ones are great.
The wrestling ones are hilarious.
No way! This one looks so,
here comes realistic.
It does.
It's realistic.
It's like we don't need fail videos anymore.
No, absolutely not.
We don't need fail videos anymore. We can just
generate this stuff. And sometimes it's like you can tell how fake it is by how real it's
right. To quote Elon, I'm watching these, Xavier, and we've talked at length about Stephen Hawking as being a
composite personage,
an artifice,
yes,
basically. And I'm sitting there wondering myself, like,
is this a rollout of the revelation of the method?
But like, are we being targeted and triggered because we've been talking about it? It's kind of like, I don't know if you've experienced this, but like, you're talking about, I don't know, something, and then you get an advertisement that is about the thing you were talking about, and it's like, is AI to the point now where it hears us talking about...
It finally recognizes the logic behind people thinking, oh, Stephen Hawking was kind of a hoax.
But it's targeted, it's fed to us because we would get it.
Right.
Oh, that's another big one, is Bob Ross. I have to say, though, I got to transition Martin Luther King.
Oh, man. These are pretty funny.
These are so funny, man.
It's funny.
Have you ever had a dream where Netflix stopped fucking your wallet? Over and over they are in there like the goddamn TSA at that bullshit X-ray screening machine looking for my last motherfucking dollar. God damn it, what the fuck?
It's amazing.
What the fuck is wrong
kind
with
of
them,
realistic.
Huh? They cut the bit rate so hard I can count pixels. It's like renting disappointment, HPM surge price. HD is a DLC now. They're so goddamn drunk on...
That was legit. HD is a damn DLC now.
Yeah.
Y'all understand? We have all this advancement. but they're just monetizing the shit out of everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you want high resolution,
right?
Which you already bought a TV for, and you pay for the internet connection. Like, we're gonna upcharge you, we're gonna give you a little extra. We can keep raising. HD's a DLC now. It's downloadable content.
Right.
Like, pay extra for that.
Oh, they're charging cover on my own fucking couch and still telling me like I have diabetes in the goddamn commercials of the motherfucking insulin. Ads are louder than a fucking air horn in a goddamn porta potty. Do they think this is a goddamn game? Running their bullshit copy-paste character factory where every fucking lead is a dumpster fire with CGI abs? Who the hell do they think they are with this gas station screenplay burrito microwaved until it fucking screams, nuke so fucking long the beans file a goddamn complaint? Rehashing the same goddamn horse shit, then drywalling over plot holes big enough to park a fucking Airbus A380 in, where hero charisma is on back order, where every scene feels like a meeting that should have been an email. I dream of a day when Netflix...
And of course, they've taken a dark racial turn as well.
Sir, you still have to pay for the slushie.
My sister, I have a dream that one day this slushie will be free for all who thirst.
Sir, hey, sir, this isn't about dreams. It's about paying for your slushie. Sir, you still...
I'm trying to see what that thing looked like from the back. Quit playing with a player. I'm tired of motherfucker cursing school telling me always in the barber shop, Chief Keef ain't about this, Chief Keef ain't about that. My boy BD on Ken Lamron and them. I'm tired of playing with my baby mama. All she do is act ratchet and I ain't staying for it on my mama. This new Gen 5 with a switch expensive. I can't keep giving her my bread, gang it. I say to you today, my friends, GTA 6. More like GTA 6, 7. Start digging in your butt, twin. Say it with me. Start digging in your butt, twin.
I'm a fan.
I mean, I am
You
all
wanna know
about
the truth?
this stuff.
I ain't got no dreams no more. I am the dream.
That is incredible. Dude, he's got the MLK on the... I mean, you can't deny the technology is like fucking crazy.
Holy crap.
You want to know the truth?
I mean, don't get me wrong. The mimicry is incredibly impressive.
It really is.
The mimicry levels are.
This is what I was trying to say. I'm struggling to articulate.
The uncanny valley is
yes,
here.
That's
is here.
That's it.
No joke about it.
And if you're a follower of the show, you know I'm a big fan of Michael Jackson. He's an interesting public figure for a number of different reasons we could go into. But he's also been a big subject of this AI creation, and
it reanimates him. It brings him back in a lot of ways.
You ever notice when you tell people you're shy, they immediately say, no, you're not? Like they just hit the unshy button. If I had one, trust me, I'd have used it at prom. People ask me, Mike, why do you dance everywhere? Because if I moonwalk out of a conversation, nobody follows. You ever notice how people tell you to act natural? If I act natural, I'm spinning in a grocery store aisle, okay? Lady told me, sir, this is Whole Foods. So I downloaded this app, Grindr. Yeah, I thought it was a sandwich place, okay? I was hungry. I'm like, ooh, Italian footlong, let's go. Next thing I know, my phone's like, there's a bear 200 feet away. I said, in Los Angeles? I don't hike, man. I just wanted to... You know, growing up in my house was kind of tough because everybody said I was the favorite. My brothers be like, man, Mike got the best dance moves, the shiniest jackets. He gets all the mashed potatoes. And I'm like, well, what can I say? Mama liked me best because I did the moonwalk. You ever notice how your GPS says in 500 feet turn left but never says in 500 feet there's a donut shop? Maybe think about your life decisions. I need that version. I tried to moonwalk past a salad bar once. Let it still suit me. You ever try to order an Uber and the driver cancels because he thinks you're a hologram? It's rude, man. My GPS be like, turn left. I'm like, hee. Spin 3 times, end up back in bed. That's not efficient. You ever notice when you tell people you're shy, they...
I mean, yeah, the thing is, it's the 2D representation, man. They've completely mastered it. So, and there is hologram tech out there.
Yeah.
So imagine bringing this level of resolution into the entertainment space.
Well, they've already created, I mean, to expand on the Michael Jackson thing, like posthumously, there was an album released after he died, which was, you know, endorsed by the estate, you know, using, and there was controversy even back then. I think it was like 2011 or something like that, that they were using AI, you know, audio training, voice training, possibly just other voice artists pretending to be him. And then some of the video, the music videos that were released commiserate with the tracks that were released literally showed him as a hologram. And then there was a whole Cirque du Soleil tour with him, and
I think I remember
including a hologram, like
Yeah.
as part of the stage performance, which I attended one of them.
Oh yeah.
And so like that whole thing is being mainlined, and you see, you know, I've seen even advertisements about like, hey, reanimate your family photos. Like we can take a family photo and, you know, from the 90s or the 80s, and we can, you send it and we'll give you a 10-second animation of what it would look like, you know, if it was a motion video. And the advertisements literally, you know, it's a still photo, like a Polaroid basically, and then it uses AI to like animate and synthesize, you know, actions and movements and behavior and stuff.
Definitely.
And so like again, I think there's a key theme of this show, the blurring of the lines has been a major development over the last 5 months or however long it's been since May, I think, our last episode. So these are kind of one of the key issues that I've had my spidey senses
me too, man.
going a little crazy.
Well, right, because I mean, at some point, it's going to be the Ready Player One situation,
which we've talked about ad nauseum.
Ad nauseum. I mean, that's a recurring theme, but this is like the preamble towards that, because people are going to eventually just prefer to interact with the AI generated simulacrum than having to trouble themselves with the day-to-day minutia of physical existence and all the difficulties therein. And I just like with the insurance companies, right, where the more you participate in the technical wearables and stuff, you know, maybe you'll get better coverage, better rates, better, you know, fast lane kind of TSA style treatment at the hospitals, right? That kind of stuff. I mean, eventually it's just going to be, well, you can generate monies in a artificial environment, game type economy, and you can just live in a pod, and you just rent the pod out, and when you're done generating monies in the pod, you can get outside the pod and do other stuff outside the pod in your little, you know, half an hour city or whatever.
Right.
You know. And then you just return to the pod, and then you can generate more monies in the artificial world. And that's going to be their solution to the housing crisis. They're going to create huge pod facilities with economic activities inside a simulated environment. And people will be able to exchange their pod time for sleep shelter, essentially.
We are going to be spending the next 48 hours living out of the best capsule hotels in Tokyo and eating out of only vending machines.
Why are we doing this?
But this is more than just a weird internet challenge. This is a story about redemption. Back in 2016, we came here on our first stop in our round-the-world journey. And I tried to book us a night in a nice capsule hotel, you know, for the experience.
Kara is going to kill me.
But at some point things got confused, and the capsule hotel I thought we were staying in was not the capsule hotel that we ended up in.
What would you say if I told you this was not the capsule hotel that I found on TripAdvisor and that you put the wrong one into Google?
Experience here in Tokyo.
Whoa.
Whoa, this is awesome. And here's my pen. This is pretty sweet.
So nice.
How do I get it to stay? Oh, I see. Privacy. Kind of. There's no lock.
So I have to whisper because someone else is sleeping right over there.
And what do you think?
It doesn't really look like much on the outside, but there is one feature in this capsule that is so cool, and I'm so excited about it. But I'll start with the basics.
Overall, it's super basic, but it feels very clean, which is great.
The mattress is not soft. I'd say it's about this thick and kind of feels like a kitchen sponge. On both sides of the bed, there are these rounded shelves. On the
Are these the kind of pods you're talking about?
Yeah. But on the inside, to make it more incentivized, you're going to have a wraparound screen. Instead of that just white wall you see there, it's going to be a
there was an
holographic
episode of
AI emergent screen.
There was an episode of Black Mirror that encapsulated this perfectly.
Absolutely.
I'll have to see if I can try to
but you know,
find it.
they sow these egregores out in the media just like they do with The Simpsons and all the Persuasion and the various popular TV shows as a way to prime the pump, as a way to get people to like see the transgressive rationality behind it as something that's just kind of inevitable or something that's coming towards them, like someone who runs ahead of a train and, you know, tells people who are crossing, oh, there's a train coming, there's a train coming, there's a train coming, but then runs back, and then there's people who are crossing and don't know a train's coming, and all of a sudden someone gets smashed, you know. And they kind of want Western civilization to be the car that gets the
all right,
train.
let's watch this. I think this is the episode of Black Mirror that depicts what you just described, which I don't even think you've watched this episde.
I may not have,
but
this exact. I know there's a lot of kind of similar-ish episodes.
True, but like I would be surprised if you've seen this episode. However, it's fascinating that you described essentially what was in it.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an egregore
because
that's out there.
They have that knowledge as well,
right?
Like, you know, and it gets disseminated as mass media, you know,
right? Yes.
Let's go back. Let's go back. It went really fast. He's in a screen-covered room.
Yeah.
See that? He wakes up.
Yeah.
And all he can see is
Sunday at 9:30 on 4.
Yeah. You've got a phenomenal voice.
Please, just sing for us.
Go, Abby! Who do you think is powering that spotlight? Millions of people, that's who. All of them out there right now.
Black Mirror continues with 15 Million Merits, Sunday at 9:30 on 4 after
that wasn't
the X
the
Factor
best depiction of. Maybe this is better. But it's like very dark in the show because I saw that episode and like they basically train them with pornography.
Yeah.
They basically force them to watch, like they're in this all encapsulating room and they force them to watch pornography, and like when it comes up they're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Just play it.
It's like based on this game show where they're trying to get out of their pods that they're in.
What are you going to do for us today, Abby?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to sing.
Men will want you, women will hate you. All the time you were on stage. Couldn't help picturing you.
This is just stupid.
No, that's brilliant, because sometimes you're a bitch. I didn't mean that. You're a bitch. You're a bitch. Also, sometimes...
cognitive behavioral thing and realigns your thinking to pick healthy food. Whispers you into it while you sleep.
It'll be humiliating, but nothing compared to her suffering.
He's just got to do it. He has to do it. What's the alternative?
It's like I've had a bad tooth for years and I'm just finally getting my tongue in there and I'm digging out all the rotten shit.
I know people. We love humiliation. We can't not love.
That's exactly the point, to make love to a pig.
This is a joke, right? Ha ha, Mike, ho ho. It's real.
Everyone will see it. The world will see it. Oh God, I can't watch this.
How long ago did that one air?
11 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have seen at least one of the segments of that one. Because I recognize some of the actors. And the premise is... yeah, it's kind of like Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And Hunger Games is another one of those persuasion kind of egregores that they've put out there and kind of popularized.
And you saw the guy with the kind of like milky eyes.
Yeah.
That was an implant.
Yeah.
Like there are multiple episodes in Black Mirror where characters have these implants, like basically permanent contact lenses that are telescreens, essentially.
Right.
You know, like,
and they can augment your visual your vision.
Yeah, there's one episode where this guy's like a programmer, game creator, and he just basically creates a virtual world for himself where he's God, and like, you know, all these people pipe into it, and they, you know, don't the lines between what is real and not is like super blurred.
Right.
And I've actually read some things on Reddit about like salvia users having these experiences where they smoke salvia and then they go live an entire lifetime as someone else. And then when they come back and they wake, they come to their senses after the salvia wears off, that they're wondering if their current existence is also that.
Ooh, that's scary.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
So it's like a fractal within a fractal kind of portal or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But in these Black Mirror episodes, they weave in a lot of technology. We've talked about this a lot before, like with Ready Player One, and I'm sure I brought up past episodes of Black Mirror because they're very prescient in their presentment of what the next kind of frontier of technological that there seems to always be some sort of tech thread woven between the episodes of like,
and this is really kind of
exploring those moral you know, and societal like quandaries associated with the interweaving of technology and perception.
But it's also like a kind of shock and awe at the same time, like by presenting these, you know, kind of dystopic possibilities, the public like becomes almost like paralyzed and sort of inured at the image that's being presented. You know, it's kind of, it goes back to that hypnagogic, like, power of suggestion kind of thing. Where it's now presented, and now it's an active principle being sort of digested and thought of. Like, you can't, like,
Right. You can't go back, basically.
Yeah. And in that sense, that ties into the whole techno-fabulist, you know, cultural agenda, where you can create a society that basically kind of worships technology and the so-called scientific narrative that produced it.
Right.
And once people become so dependent on it, it'll make the whole, you know, welfare state of today look, you know, relatively tame.
Right.
You know, that's kind of the long-term arc of this technofabulism, is to make the dependency and welfare state that we have now, which is, you know, arguably extremely burdensome and a main driver around a lot of economic immiseration long term, to make that seem kind of small in comparison.
Well, you know, the transition is well underway,
Yeah.
because if you are anywhere in public, people much prefer to be immersed in their phone, than in conversation with their fellow citizenry. You know?
There's only like select pockets, it seems, where you can find people who are determined to have regular old school social interactions, and you have to kind of seek out those pockets if you're looking to just kind of get the word on the street, or the beat, as it were,
right,
as how people are actually feeling, what they're going through, you know. John and Jane Q. Public.
You actually have to be a leader. You can't just kind of happen upon. You often have to spearhead these type of conversations, and I'm as guilty as anybody. You know, in terms of you know, sometimes just kind of wanting to keep to myself, and I think that's by design.
Yeah,
I think it's by design.
It is largely
it takes some discipline to resist it.
Yeah, it does. You know, you're absolutely right, and that's not again, it's been a sort of underemphasized or sort of cheapened skill set. You know, because of all the substitutionary technological stuff of like, oh well, social media is now the perfect proxy for social interaction with real people, so why bother getting to know real people along the way? You know, you can just see a you know, simulacrum copy of who they are as a person online, so that ought to be good enough, right? And that to me is just, it's just kind of a sign of the times that all of these different pseudoscientific charlatanry matrix behavioralist agendas have metastasized to such a extent that all these agendas are converging, essentially, and it's creating the conditions that everyone is constantly having to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And our position here has been, oh, this is not just like organic chaos, like eventuating itself into some random, you know, set of catastrophic circumstances that we call today. Like, we think that's a kind of the crutch du jour over a lot of the body politic today. It's actually easier for people to think that there isn't some kind of program in place and an agenda being set and opportunized off of these conditions, when I think the evidence suggests that
that drives me crazy, because
it absolutely,
you know,
is.
I talk to some people who think that I just hand wave, that I just hand wavium am like a cop out. Like, I'm a cop out because I don't want to participate in voting. Oh, well, your opinion doesn't matter because you don't want to vote.
It's the other way around.
And it's like, oh, you just think that there's some global conspiracy of interests who are enslaving and controlling. They control everything, and so it's just like this very simple answer. It's like actually it's way more complex.
Yeah.
It's way more complex the way I see things than how you are categorizing them.
Oh yeah, that's just straw man representation. That's actually them hand waving away your concern and saying
also
I
the
can't
information
pay attention to
itself.
that. Right. Exactly.
It's like you're not refuting in that criticism of my gestalt. You're not refuting the evidence.
And it would be a better answer, and I would accept this answer on the part of people who are averse to these lines of investigation, to simply say, the gravity of what you're talking about is just too much for my mental health. I don't have the moral fortitude.
I accept that.
I would accept that.
I do accept it.
Okay,
and I've had that said to
that.
me. I've had that said to me where the conversation gets too deep.
Yeah.
And people bow out.
And they say, look,
and they're like,
I am too shallow of a pool to deal with this whale of an issue.
Yeah, I hear you, but it's too much for me. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
But I've heard it. Like, I'm too busy, or I'm too preoccupied, or I'm too stressed out about this, that going on in my life to reckon with that.
Right.
And I actually am fine with that.
And I'm fine with that, okay, on the level of politeness, right?
To a certain extent.
But ultimately what you're doing there, and I accept this as a kind of polite bow out. I'm not going to be a sort of antagonist that cites you as a coward, or I mean, even though I could technically on an intellectual level, I think that that actually needs to be pushed a little bit more onto people who do that polite bow out. At the same time, that's actually not the most common way of dealing with stuff that might be over your head in terms of politics and secret agendas and information theory, you might say. The more common one is to just dismiss all of it as tinfoil and try to discredit the person presenting the information. I appreciate the former, which is look,
correct.
What you're talking about is like probably
I'm not dismissing
legit. I'm not dismissing it.
I'm admitting
don't have the mental fortitude.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I've talked to people before who are like,
because that's the reality ultimately.
Here's another one I've heard is like, I don't have the information to argue with you,
right?
But I'm not going to agree with you.
Well, yeah, that's a variation, and that one's actually not as humble as it's not as humble.
It's like kind of like arrogant in a way, because it's like, well, if you don't have any information to refute me, what grounds do you have to disagree?
Just your cognitive dissonance.
It's kind of like there's that level where it's like
they're just trying to protect their cognitive dissonance.
Correct.
Yeah, that's all that is.
But I agree with you 1,000%. Like,
I would rather people just be more honest and say, you know what, I'm a dummy.
Yeah.
And
there should be no shame in it.
There should be no shame.
in it.
Like,
I will admit it.
Yeah.
You'll admit it. Like, if you don't know something, why pretend?
Right. So when it comes to pressing matters in terms of historiography and cosmology and various lines of research that continue to have import today, if certain contentious topics are just kind of over your head, just say that. Don't try to hand wave it away as that's like a kosher conspiracy or something. That's just you being tinfoil.
It's like me saying to a plumber, yeah, I got this.
Oh yeah, or saying like, well, are you sure you're a plumber? Are you sure? Like, let me look underneath your truck and make sure that you're a real plumber.
Right.
I mean, it's like,
well,
like no, like coming from from a position that doesn't have the information and doesn't have anything to refute it really, but then still privileging the premise that the person presenting information you don't know about must be wrong. is in itself like a.
It's like you realize the
just
precarious
intellectual cowardice.
the precarious ledge you're
Yeah.
standing on,
Right.
like the grounds that you're standing on are like quicksand.
Right.
You have no counter evidence for anything.
It's just your cognitive dissonance that you're trying to protect
Wearing as
and
a shield,
insulate.
essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And again, those are kind of the three levels. There's the one that says, look, oh God, I'm just so ignorant on this topic. I really should know more about this. But I just don't have the mental fortitude for it. I just can't think about things this way. I'm basically kind of a weakling, and I accept that. That one's the most tolerable,
right?
Kind of bow out. And then there's the cognitive dissonance hideout, which is, well, I maybe don't have any direct evidence to like refute you, or the evidence that I do have is sort of irrelevant and doesn't pertain to what you're talking about. But I can sort of sideline the conversation and say, oh, this is likely controversial and contentious. Like, I'm just not going to agree with you from the get-go, even though I don't have any real reason to disagree with you.
Yeah.
That's the hideout. That's cognitive dissonance. But then the third level is just like kind of head in the sand, heels dug in. No, you're just saying that because you're a racist or a bigot or a conspiracy theorist, or that's the heels dug in, head in the sand, ad hominem attack vectors that are not only a hideout for cognitive dissonance and an expression of your intellectual weakness, but is also just an indication that you don't want different information.
Right.
You don't want new perspectives. You don't care about anything that could change your point of view. So there's no, in other words, there's no point arguing with fools at that point.
Yeah.
And there's, pearls before swine and all that. But in that sense, there's a lot of kind of sub variations between those three, but those are kind of the main three remaining pillars of how people are trying to respond to these huge new revelations that are just like cascading, like Niagara Falls.
You have to laugh at a certain point when people aren't waking up.
Exactly.
You just have to laugh.
You have to kind of laugh, and it's like,
bless your heart.
Oh,
bless your heart.
Oh. Like you think that we're just now having a foreign and this is with people who have good intent on both sides of the aisle, right? People who are still kind of like barely starting to rub their eyes a little bit,
right?
Not awake, but like being kind of like, oh God, like conditions are not the way I kind of imagined them being 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Or hey, I got a good video here. We got to close up the show pretty shortly, but on that note, where is it? I know I had it. Oh gosh, I must have lost it. It was a video of I follow some like nostalgia videos, and it was a video of like all the insanity of COVID. It was like,
we were cutting edge on all that
liberals who think RFK is a kook, and it's like the ones who had their kids in full hazmat suits playing their musical instruments in music class.
Sure.
And the people hugging between layers of plastic, and all of that. And it's just like,
there's right insanity and there's left insanity, but they're both, they're different brands of insanity, but they all kind of lead to the same cul-de-sac of insanity. And you have to see beyond it, because they each have their own blind spots and like utter hypocrisies. And the main one is like, the one on the right is, there's no savior. Like, there's no one that's gonna swoop down and make things better. Like, that's political naivete. And on the left, it's this BS of like, oh, well, the people who are deemed experts are going to solve things. And they're the ones who are the most competent in righting wrongs. It's like, no investigation of the wrongs that the people who are supposedly called experts in the first place have already caused. Like, you know, there's hypocrisies on both sides.
That's where I have to agree with Nick Fuentes, who criticizes Trump. You know, he started COVID,
right?
All the the mandates and whatnot. He allowed it. He paved the skids for the states to be authoritarian. Biden continued it, reinforced it, and also the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, that expanded the war theater.
The war theater in Israel. We never stopped funding them.
Yeah.
And then when Trump gets in, no apology.
Nothing.
No apology for the COVID nightmare, which I guess was somewhat repudiated by like RFK and but kind of not really.
I think the fact that people voted for Trump was a repudiation of the COVID stuff. To a great extent.
It was, even though
it happened under Trump to begin with.
But they should have given him a little bit more culpability in the matter.
I absolutely agree, and that's why I abstain. I vote to abstain. That's literally probably the only legitimate vote these days. But Trump, his brand as a political dynasty and entity has been owned for over 30 years. Like, the dude was in so far over his head with the Atlantic casino busts and stuff. He is an agent of the legacy banker Rothschild system. Like, there's no question about it. And a subset within that dynasty that's heavy Greater Israel Project, Middle Eastern expansionism,
right,
all that stuff. I mean, he's in that back pocket of that part of the regime. Now, the more neo-Marxist homo stuff, like, they don't care as much about territoriality, revanchism, like sort of the Zio technocrats do, but they have their own ideological revenge control grids that they implement whenever they're in power, and ultimately it all just kind of combines together to aggregate more power to the people who can grease the skids.
It's like we were talking about actually during our bio break, off mic, off the air, the hidden hand, which has been a very common theme in all of our discussions. Like, the people we typically focus on are, honestly, they're the ones that most people know and can actually converse about, but the ones that really matter transparently, we're not even aware of.
Right, the ones who are ingratiated within the visible elite have a outsized kind of influential effect from within by being hidden, by being not disclosed, and being movers and shakers that are not open to public purview or cognizance.
Like most people are focused on the Elons and the Trumps,
right?
And
these
the
are
Gates and the Buffetts and the,
exactly.
These
are all
and even honestly, Rockefeller and the Rothschilds.
Yeah,
they have ascended in in the last 10 years. They have ascended in their categorization to be akin to like old, at least among the discerning,
the old nobility,
even the discerning, I would say largely on the right, somewhat on the left, public, but they are probably not even the ultimate controllers.
Not at all. They're just kind of like
They're
the
middle,
head gilder or something. You know, they're not.
They're part of the priest class.
They're part of the priest class for sure.
Certain people are designated as front men for flack and fodder.
Exactly.
You know, I would say Elon is in that category.
Trump,
like, you know,
absolutely.
Trump as well. Peter Thiel. You know, like
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah,
these
are
guys,
all flack and fodder.
They're flack and fodder. They're front men.
Yeah.
They are
easy scapegoats.
Meant to take, easy scapegoats.
Pain
meant
sponges.
To take, you're just putting words in my mouth, man.
Yeah,
like,
they're all pain sponges. They're all there to sop up public resentment, so as to be this misdirected cul-de-sac of anger. Yeah.
But the real movers and shakers, we don't know their names.
We don't know their names.
We should know them. We should seek them.
Yeah.
But they are essentially the black nobility.
Yeah.
You know, who
and it's their emissaries that maybe are public adjacent that aren't very well known that also, you know, should be brought into the light more. You know, the Kushners and
I can't believe I
Adelsons
fucking see Kushner in any kind of headline negotiating anything, and it's just like that should be the public outrage.
Absolutely,
like, that should be the public outrage. Like
instead of over government shutdown,
what the
it's
fuck
like,
is this? What the fuck is this?
This guy's just treating America as his private dowry, basically. Yeah, absolutely.
And so the left have every right to lambast MAGA,
of course,
and all that. Like, I don't even deny that at all.
No,
but like, you know, the answer is also not Zorhan Mamdani.
Like, let's have a new caliphate in the United States.
Yeah, cool,
great.
Good
idea. This is all
idea.
part of jihad, right? That we declared 22 years ago or whatever.
Yeah. Well, Xavier, it's always a blast. It's midnight, 12:13. We started a little late. We ended a little late. It was a great show. We'll try to do another one in the next.
You could do like a yearly
before the end of the year, let's think about that.
Beginning
or
of
beginning
the next year. Yearly recap.
It's been very busy.
Prognostication. Oh man, we had a really wild, fun, travel-filled summer. Both of us were doing so much stuff.
I switched jobs, and you travel a lot.
We do a lot of vending all over the place,
and so schedules did not align. But like, you know, we are the first next generation news network powered by Theta. You know, the crypto market and whatnot.
Going through an extended consolidation along the base, the hiring space.
Yep. And you know, I'm in a job position that could potentially, you know, afford us new investment in the program. We're always looking for new opportunities to, you know, especially with AI, I think we can do some new and interesting things that will expand our reach. But it takes time and investment, and I do see in the next 5 or 6 months, you know, major opportunities for that. Unfortunately, we didn't get any call-ins tonight. I was planning to award 444 T-Fuel to any caller. I was going to do all the callers because we haven't done a show in so long. I have a bunch of accrued T-Fuel from staking, much of which will go to Xavier for participating and hanging with the program. But in the future, you know, we actually, at least I am very optimistic that like the censorship regime is changing. And if I can get into a better financial state, you know, I can get into reinvestment, which I haven't done in a while with CNN. As well as the low price of crypto makes it possible for you know, I can take additional stakes and potentially increase rewards, and we need to get more organized about that. But we also need more engagement. So like, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. Everybody who listens to the content, I think, likes it a lot. But we're still subject to legacy throttling
on this channel, which, I mean, I technically Trump did win a lawsuit versus YouTube recently, a pretty hefty amount, so that's technically case precedent for a bigger class action of censorship and throttling growth and preventing visibility, which is in itself a violation of free speech. This whole like kosher disclosure thing of like freedom of speech is not freedom of reach. It's like, excuse me, we've just improved the public commons so that people can have reach in their speech, and then you coming in here and playing middleman and saying that some speech is allowed to have reach and others aren't with the tools that expand the commons, that's tyranny. It's not rationality. But we'll see. I would love to see Google go bankrupt because of censorship transactions.
Well, we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but the whole AI bubble might bring that about. We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, there's so much stuff on the horizon. It seems like we're getting started.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace.